If you haven't seen my previous video about the discovery of palace skip, you should go watch that first, link in the description. Welcome to another video about palace skip. In my previous video, I helped explain how complicated palace skip is. I described how impossible it is for humans to do in real-time speedruns. Well, times have changed. Solidified Gaming has found another method of performing palace skip. It still requires an item drop, it still requires a delayed Goombella buffer, it still requires a Yoshi teleport. What's different? The Ultra Hammer. And it's the key to this faster and simpler method of palace skip. I'd like to preface this by saying we can quickly get the Ultra Hammer by performing Ultra Hammer early. This way, we can exchange a few minutes performing UHE for a much simpler and easier palace skip. The beginning is the same. We get an item drop and perform a delayed Goombella buffer into it in order to get tech storage. We alternate Z and A in order to run away while keeping the text box up. Unlike the previous method, we do not need to get another text storage, and you'll see why in a second. In the old palace skip method, you had to spawn Yoshi out of bounds by facing right against the left wall. We can actually get Yoshi out of bounds using the Ultra Hammer. As you can see, if you have the Ultra Hammer and hold down B and rotate the analog stick, you begin to charge up a hammer swing. As you rotate the stick, Mario begins to twist. Not only does he appear to twist, but the angle that he's facing actually changes as well. Since partners spawn behind Mario, we can have him face downwards. That way, Yoshi will spawn above, inside the back wall. For some reason, this can only occur if the partner Mario has out during the swing is Goombella or Koops. Any others, and Yoshi will not be able to get inside the wall. In order to do this, we have to spin the analog stick a certain way in order to reach that desired facing angle. If we face left, we can rotate the control stick counterclockwise. If we face right, then we can rotate the control stick clockwise. If we were to rotate the control stick in the opposite direction, then Mario will end up twisting in the wrong direction and face up instead of down. To get the desired angle, we have to charge up the hammer swing 2/3 of the way. The first third is him beginning to twist, while the second third is him twisting a tiny bit more. Twisting more than that will cause Mario to face left or right, and the partner to spawn right or left, respectively, which is not what we want. Inside the battle, we switch to Yoshi and run away. The game places him behind Mario, which is considered straight up. Once he's in the wall, we go into paper mode and push against Yoshi. By going into paper mode, we can get closer to the wall and push Yoshi farther up onto the edge of the back seam of the room. Once the Ember notices us, we quickly let go of R to get out of paper mode and pause. From here, we use an item on Yoshi. In doing so, this will bring Yoshi out from paper mode quickly. If Yoshi stays in paper mode, we won't actually be able to use him when we want to teleport. After using the item, we pause once more. From here, we want to buffer an A press. In doing so, the text box will close as soon as we exit from the pause menu. A few frames after the text box begins to close, we can press X, and if done on the right frame, we can Yoshi teleport slightly down and encounter the Ember. Since we're against the back wall, we don't even have to double jump afterwards, simply hold up towards the loading zone, and that's it. This successfully cuts out getting the second tech storage, the encounter with Koops, maneuvering along the front seam, and the double jump. This may still sound hard, and it kinda is, but we found ways to make each step easier. The item drop chance can be greatly increased with the aid of the item hog badge, which raises item drop chances to 25% if the enemy is not holding an item in battle, or to 35% if the enemy is holding an item in battle. After getting the item drop, we can bounce the item around until it's right on the edge of the right Ember's movement zone. This way, we can perform the delayed Goombella buffer and not worry about the Ember getting in the way until after we buffer into the item. An easy way to get the item to land right on the edge of the Ember's movement zone is to discard the item either from the third flower tile to the left, or the second stained glass window to the right. You can shoot Koops out and have him grab the item while you're right in front of the glass window or flower tile. From there, RNG may cause the item to fly left or right. Hopefully it flies in the direction towards the Ember's movement zone. When the item bounces, it covers a distance of exactly 2 of the background panels, meaning it will land just barely inside the Ember's movement zone. Afterwards, we can lure the Ember away to the right, run back left, and charge up the hammer swing while making sure it's only 2/3 of the way charged. We switch to Yoshi and try to run away without closing the text box. Once here, we immediately go into paper mode and stay on the edge of the Ember zone until he goes towards the right. Then we push Yoshi farther into the wall to make sure he'll fall later so we can teleport down. Once that's set up, we make sure the Ember is approaching us. This way, we can guarantee that he'll be in a position where we can encounter him when we teleport on the right frame. We pause right after unspinning, use the item on Yoshi, pause right after, press A, unpause, and press X on the right frame. If we encounter the Ember, it's easy from there. Does this still sound too crazy? Well, believe it or not, Sajorika has already gotten this trick in a run with a time of 3:40:22. It's absolutely incredible that he was able to get a world record time only days after this new method was discovered. In addition, there's actually a scenario in which we have a 2-frame window to perform the Yoshi teleport, which would make this trick a lot easier actually. This scenario comes about when the Ember charging towards Mario sticks to the ground. We're not entirely sure why this happens, but it has something to do with the Ember noticing Mario when the Ember is at a lower Y position than normal, since it actually bobs up and down when it moves around. When this comes about, if your pauses are perfect or near perfect, you can either press X on the 3rd frame, or the 4th frame after the text storage text box begins to close. My TAS is suboptimal confirmed. If you're wondering if this is faster for a TAS, well, sadly yes. Though UHE would cost about 40 seconds to do, it would ultimately save more time. First, I wouldn't need to get a full inventory like RTA does. The only reason RTA runners need a full inventory is so that they can toss the item around and buffer into it without being near the Ember. In the TAS, I can manipulate the Ember's position so that I don't need to move the item. Therefore, I would save time from not collecting 7 additional items to fill the inventory. I'd also skip 2 extra battles and extra movement along the front seam. In addition, I'd actually be able to skip Koops. If you've seen my TAS, you're probably aware that we can enter Hooktail's castle without the use of Koops. When Koops asks to join our party, we can actually say no and continue on without him. Kinda. A cutscene forces him out, creating a weird scenario in which the partner menu only shows Goombella, and you can't switch to her, meaning you're stuck with Koops for the time being. Once we get Flurry though, Koops disappears. Since I no longer need Koops to help get Yoshi out of bounds, we can wave goodbye to him. We don't have a good estimate, but this method of palace skip would probably save around a minute or 2 in the TAS. I don't feel like it's worth redoing chapters 1, 2, 7, 3, and 8 just for a 2-minute time saver. At this rate, it might not be long before Blimp Ticket Skip gets found, or Palace Skip without Yoshi gets found, and I have a larger reason to redo the TAS.